Hello, friends, and welcome back to VHS. I'm your host, Jesse, and well, today we've got a big one. One of the all-time granddaddies of science fiction filmmaking. Period. Bar none. End of sentence. This is Blade Runner. Do the visuals still dazzle? Is Deckard secretly a replicant? Are we all secretly replicant? Oh my God. Well, let's find out. It's the Hollywood Holdup featuring one of my 5 favorite films of all time, Blade Runner. Couple quick items before we get rolling here today. First, please like the video and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more of what it is we do here. Secondly, say hey to everyone's favorite retired Blade Runner, producer Craig, who actually made me interview for this job, by the way.
You're in a desert, walking along in the sand when all of a sudden...
Is this the test now?
Yes.
And now, the movie in a minute. Well, Blade Runner takes place in the recent past, 2019, so I'm sure you all remember back a few years ago when we had that problem with all the off-world replicants, remember? Coming back down to Earth, asking for longer lifespans. You're not remembering this at all? Guys, it was just a few years ago. All right, here's a little refresher on the events of 2019 for those who don't remember. Meet Rick. He's a retired cop, but in today's Los Angeles...
You know the score, pal. You're not cops, you're little people.
So Rick goes back to work as a Blade Runner, which is a nonsense title not related to the job at all. In fact, it actually comes from a William S. Burroughs novella about medical supply smugglers. Really, Rick is a super cop who specializes in taking down rogue synthetics called replicants. See, these replicants are being used all over space at this point. They don't need to breathe or eat, they can lift heavy shit, and if we don't let them live too long, they shouldn't develop emotions too much. But they're illegal here on Earth because, well, they could kill all of us, so here comes Rick the Blade Runner to take down a crew of souped-up Nexus 6 replicants who have the audacity to ask their god for some more clock. Besides the cat and mouse game, Rick falls in love with a replicant named Rachel, who thought she was a real person until yesterday, so she's a little fragile. The whole thing comes down to a fight that Rick absolutely loses against the replicant leader, Roy Batty. But that good old engineered obsolescence kicks in just in time. Rick and Rachel leave town, not knowing how long they have together before she kicks it. Also, Rick is probably a replicant himself, created to replace this actual super cop named Gaff. But who knows? Now on to the categories. Category 1, a rose by any other director's cut. If you're new to Blade Runner, I should tell you there are very many versions of the film at this point, so let's sort them out so you know where to start. The best place to start is Blade Runner: The Final Cut, released in 2007. Now, some fans may be jumping out of their chairs right now because I didn't pick the director's cut for this first slot, but for my money, The Final Cut is the same movie as the director's cut, just a little tighter, a little more streamlined through the story, and that all helps. It's like if you gave the filmmaker 25 years to just sit around and think about his movie and the changes he would make, and then you gave him like a month or two in the edit room to make those changes. It's exactly like that. Next up is, of course, the director's cut, which was released in 1992. This is the cut that transformed Blade Runner from a critically beloved box office flop into the cult phenomenon it still is today. Here's what happened. A couple guys who were working in a film lab out in LA found this old work print, like a rough draft version of the film, and they got permission from Warner Brothers to start showing it around LA at screenings. Well, word got back to Ridley Scott, and he got kind of pissed off about it because these guys were actually showing his, like I said, rough cut, unfinished film to people. Well, Warner Brothers decided to make it right by letting Ridley come in and paying for a little time for him to make his official director's cut. And what's actually great about the director's cut is what Ridley took out of the theatrical version. So, to better explain that, let's jump to the theatrical cut from 1982. Long story short on this guy, is the studio did not believe at that time that audiences were going to buy into and spend a lot of money on such a dreary sci-fi contemplation. So the geniuses at the studio, in their infinite wisdom, decided to add a voiceover, and I mean a lot of clunky voiceover narration to explain what a Blade Runner is and talk you through what's happening.
That was my profession. Ex-cop. Ex-Blade Runner. Ex-killer.
But the bigger sin than that was the happy ending they slapped on the end of the cut. They used this awful footage of them flying around a car. They borrowed some stock footage from The Shining, and they slapped a disgusting little extra voiceover narration on the end to just make it all hippie-happy. I want to puke. Finally, if you've made it through the theatrical cut and you thought to yourself, man, I could really use some more Blade Runner, you can actually go find that work print cut we were talking about. That's still available. So you can catch the actual rough draft. And it's basically the same. It's not going to shake your foundations or anything, but it's cool. It's cool to look at for us nerds. Absolutely. For bonus time, you can dig up the deleted scenes reel, which includes a scene that didn't make it to the final, any of the cuts really of the film, where Deckard goes to visit Holden in the hospital. Remember that first Blade Runner, Holden, who gets shot up by Leon in the opening scene? Well, there's a deleted scene where Holden's not dead. He's being kept alive by machines in the hospital. Deckard goes to visit him, and Holden says some really racist stuff about replicants. It's a weird look. Category 2, replicant dating service? I think I figured out what's really getting these murderous replicants down. They're not dating enough. They're not putting themselves out there, you know what I mean? They're just circling the drain in their toxic friend group. Let's see if we can't make a love connection. Leave a comment below if you're interested. Now let's check out our first eager single. Leon Kowalski. Meet Leon. He's an ammunition loader on intergalactic runs. He may not have a chin, but he's got the hardware to lift 400-pound atomic loads all day. And he's ready to move a couch for you, ladies. One word of caution, Leon has the emotional bandwidth of Lenny from Of Mice and Men, so he tends to get a little eye-pokey when upset. Mostly he's a big cuddle bear.
Time to die.
Roy Batty. Meet Roy, a Nexus 6 combat model designed for optimum self-sufficiency. Finally, a guy who picks up after himself. Am I right, ladies? Roy is the leader of his group of buddies, so only strong personalities need apply. He's also only going to live for the next few days, so let's get on this one. Zora. Up next is the beautiful Zora, who boasts an impressive and diverse resume, fellas. Zora is a dancer, a see-through raincoat model, and 5-time Employee of the Month on her Kick Murder squad. Go get 'em, girl. Pris. Finally, meet Pris. Much more than a basic pleasure model, Pris brings a tender heart and kind words to the way she manipulates humans into getting what she wants. Turn-ons include face paint and gymnastics, if that does anything for you. Category 3, cults. But like nice ones. Blade Runner is perhaps the ultimate cult hit phenomenon. But for the unfamiliar, what is it exactly that makes a movie a cult hit? It's not just that a movie flopped at the box office when it came out and then slowly found a way to make money. I mean, that's part of it, right? That's the hit part. But the cult part is that it didn't find its audience right away. That first couple weekends, right? Because of advertising, scheduling, so many reasons. But it was able to find that audience over time, building that house of fandom one brick at a time through word of mouth, people showing it to their friends because the people that found it loved it. It wasn't a casual experience, it became a very personal experience for the fans. Symptoms of cult hits can include revivals in your area, right? Sing-alongs, and multiple versions of the film being released over time to really milk us suckers. Got me. So if you're looking to slide into the warm, inviting waters of cult fandom, here's a little sampler platter so you can find your entree. The Rocky Horror Picture Show. First up is one of the wildest and frankly catchiest film musicals of all time, the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Susan Sarandon's in this thing, so's Meatloaf, but really who cares? This movie is about one performer and one performer only, that's Tim Curry as Dr. Frankenfurter. Symptoms of cult fandom here include perhaps the greatest revival run of any film ever released. If you can get into this movie, let the music and all the sexy weirdness work its magic on you. You will find many opportunities to join your cult mates for a sing-along screening that involves, among other things, throwing rolls of toilet paper at the screen.
Dr. Scott!
Janet! Rucker!
Donnie Darko. I was in film school when Donnie Darko came out, so yeah, I'm still a little tired of talking about it, but let's be fair and give Donnie his cult shine here. This weird little movie about moody teens and time travel, sorta, was made on such a low budget they couldn't afford the rights to release the soundtrack. And the soundtrack is bangin'. Symptoms of cult fandom include an alternate version of the film called the Renegade Cut, very edgy guys, that attempts to clear up a tremendously confusing story. But it don't. The Room. Yeah, shit, I guess we can talk about The Room. If you've managed to not hear about this movie in the last 20 years, allow me to burst that bubble of sanity for you, cause we're heading to Crazy Town. Tommy Wiseau, a vaguely European day-walking vampire who insists he's an average American football man in real life, had a lot of money and absolutely no idea what he was doing. For example, Wiseau filmed the whole movie on 35mm film and digital video. At the same time. I'm not kidding, he had two cameras right next to each other because he wasn't sure what would look better. So instead of running some tests, he just double shot the whole movie. Dude talks about it. Anyway, symptoms of cult fandom here include the fact that this movie is a complete joke. I want to be clear though, Tommy Wiseau is not kidding.
I did not hit her. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark.
This movie is just a hilarious joke, and much like Rocky Horror, you can catch a screening near you where people shout out lines and throw plastic spoons at each other. Enjoy that. The verdict. So, is Blade Runner worth a rewatch in 2025? Of course it is, you guys. This is one of the greatest, most fundamental, and most beautifully human sci-fi movies ever created by humans. Please rewatch constantly. Unless you're talking about the 1982 theatrical cut, don't do that. Don't nobody need to listen to that dumb narration ever again.
They don't advertise for killers in a newspaper.
And there you have it, the Hollywood Holdup featuring legitimately, guys, one of my favorite movies of all time, Blade Runner. That wraps up our future season on the Hollywood Holdup. We hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for coming along on the journey, and we hope you come back next time. Who knows where the Hollywood Holdup is gonna head next? Until then, we live here. Only on VHS. Take 'em home, Craig. Am I a replicant?
Thanks for watching, everyone. Oh, and please like and subscribe. Check out more of our videos. Leave a comment. Or don't. You do you.